Guys, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. All that boring mumbo jumbo. So as y'all know, Fight Club is one of my favorite movies ever. Um, and we all, spoilers ahead if you haven't seen it, even though it's been 24, 25 years since it's been out. Spoiler, okay, Brad Pitt is Edward Norton, of course, and it's a character in Edward Norton's head the whole time. He was actually just hallucinating, talking to himself the whole time, and it was really his alter ego. It's what he wanted to be, kind of overly masculine, just don't care about society, do whatever you want kind of thing. But I was watching this other channel, and he really goes into how every character is a part of Edward Norton's hallucination, and how he's really the whole entire movie. There are just different archetypes of his mind. Marla Singer, everyone in the Fight Club, Jared Leto's blonde character, even this bartender just appears out of nowhere. He wasn't in there in the shot, and then he just appears out of nowhere. A lot of little stuff like that, and I think y'all should look him up. Really fun stuff. And you see how all these little cuts where Tyler Durden is spliced into the film itself, those are indications of what parts of Edward Norton's life he's actually hallucinating. And so I like that twist because it's kind of like the Yahweh is Satan thing. The bad guy was the good guy. The good guy was the bad guy the whole time. And then, of course, we have Jesus in the New Testament calling out the Old Testament, specifically 6 times in Matthew 5. But we'll get into that later. Let's see real quick here. La-di-da-di-da. Okay, let's go with some of my notes. Controversial, yeah, who cares? It's my middle name. I'm Aquarius. So I believe I was mostly female in my past lives. Let's get that out in the open. And also because my grandma had a psychic reading when I was a kid, that also implied that and explained why I was such an old soul and into all this stuff that most people think is weird or boring, but I find true meaning in. So that always kind of affected me as a kid, or I think I didn't read it till I was 11 or 12 before my bar mitzvah. Mom didn't give it to me till then. But yeah, I said I believe I was mostly female in my past lives. If true, then that may explain so many people feeling they can be a different gender in this life, right? Not necessarily that they should be, though. Okay, like you might feel more masculine because you were a dude in your past life and you died in a war, but you're supposed to learn feminine, softer traits in this life, yin yang. So I understand the feeling, quote unquote, of wanting to feel something or other, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't test God's gift to us. And right here, let me see, I'll make this smaller. So I said just unify politics of gender identity with common sense public policy. There doesn't seem to be any balance, just all or nothing. And that's the problem with America today. Left, right, black, white. So my advice is don't allow felons into unisex restrooms. You go into a restroom, a little girl, some male felon, you don't know. It's just a public restroom, shows she should be safe. Don't assume that. You don't think crime happens in public? Okay? But do allow LGBTQ people their inalienable rights, just like everyone else. They have rights, you have rights. Identify as whatever genders you want, but don't fine others for disagreeing. Like some places, it's like illegal to misgender someone. That's like saying, well, you don't believe in what I believe, I'm going to sue you. It's like, okay, well, you don't believe in the Bible. Should I be able to sue you because you don't believe what I believe? Just because it involves your identity doesn't mean it's not an ideology, a belief system that you're forcing someone else to participate in that you shouldn't have to. I read this Samuel Butler quote, an apology for the devil. It must be remembered that we have heard only on one side of the case. God has written all the books. But that's complete hogwash. The irony is that the opposite is most likely true. Satan is altering the scriptures and he's pretending to be God. What's Satan's number one goal? To be God, to be like the Most High, and to be disguised as an angel of light. So the whole entire Old Testament is just the Jews being deceived by alien technology. Oh, it must be God because it's coming from the sky, and fire and brimstone coming from the UFO laser beams. and nuclear warheads that they're dropping on Sodom and Gomorrah or whatever. So I think Samuel Butler got it definitely wrong right there. Some more AI art as usual. Yeah, like got to scary stuff, and then I got to trippy Quetzalcoatl, guitarist, Aquarius, astrologer. You just type whatever you want and you get an image. And then I did these cool James Joyce Finnegan's Wake pieces, which I was just going on a roll with these. These look fucking beautiful to me. Excuse my French, even though the F word isn't French. So yeah, more AI art. I don't like AI running McDonald's stores or taking our jobs or being in charge of Google, but I like the visual images that they represent. And I'm not getting paid off it, obviously. Some people charge people for AI art. I'm going to charge you for some words I typed into a program that created it. I don't think that's right. I think you should create your own art with your own hand if you want to charge people. Then I did like a Ralph Bakshi style. He did, Fritz the Cat, Cool World with Brad Pitt, Ice and Fire. He's got some great animation. Let's take a look at my notes here. I said I'm a culturist, definitely not a racist. Promoting LeVar Burton, who starred in Reading Rainbow and Star Trek, he's a great guy, is not the same as calling out the evil of gang culture in black communities, just because both are black. So a lot of minorities get this mixed up. They say, well, you don't like rap, you must be racist. No, I just hate evil. Doesn't matter what color your skin, what are you saying? And what is this culture pushing people towards? I don't like rednecks talking about Christmas, just driving pickup trucks, while they're drinking beer. That's weird too. It's not about white or black, it's about what culture are you trying to amalgamate? What culture are you trying to represent or be? Nothing to do with race, it's about culture. Plenty of white rappers who say evil stuff too. Because, in the end times, data and statistics and evil are prejudice. Oh, you don't like that? You must be evil. No, it's not prejudice to be against, it's not evil to be against evil, if that sums it up for you, right? Another issue here, if an LGBTQ person alters their sex, but then 5 years later meets a true opposite sex that they're finally attracted to, then won't they regret that early life decision? Don't make up your mind so fast. Well, I met every kind of guy, or I met every kind of girl, and they all suck. I'm going to change my gender. You don't know what life is going to bring you, and you don't know if you're going to regret something that important. You can have a tattoo at 18, but they're promoting like kids to alter their private parts. I just don't see that there's a double standards there. See, Malachi 2:10 says, "Have we not all one Father?" Now, that's one of the few times the Old Testament mentions God as the Father. I always thought the Old Testament never mentioned God as the Father, only Jesus. But Malachi 2:10 does, which I'm happy for. Because as I said, not the entire Old Testament is Yahweh is Satan. Look at Isaiah 53 and all the prophecies. Jesus literally went up to the synagogue and read Isaiah 53 out loud and said, "That is me." And then everyone freaked out. So yeah, the Old Testament is a mixture, y'all, of evil and good, and we have to discern it by its fruits, okay? And it's weird, Malachi 2:10 is my birthday, so it's like one of the only verses that mentions in the Old Testament God is the Father is on my birthday. 2:10. This is just a weird theory. Days of Thunder, that Tom Cruise movie about racing with Nicole Kidman as well, is that perhaps a prequel to Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, directed by Stanley Kubrick, of course. Not literally, but I think Kubrick spiritually or intellectually associates the two as one following the other, but I'm not going to get into that. Right here, I'm going to reiterate, people don't find my channel because I'm saying new things that they don't search for. So if I'm going to give you a new truth you didn't know you wanted, how would you click on it, let alone search for it? It's like, if there was YouTube in 1903, people aren't going to Google, what is the theory of relativity? They didn't know until someone told them. So I'm saying people only want what they search for. And so when you come across my channel because you happen to be looking at conspiracies and Illuminati, you don't know it's going to go into stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Sorry, it's just, I think that's part of the reason I'm not as popular. And because I hop around all the place with my ideas because I'm a bunny. You're the rabbit. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna get into that one for now. Let's see. I just said AI, make a story about whatever you on my Instagram and read the rest. This is controversial though. People are like, well, we have to follow all 300, or 613 commandments because Jesus says he fulfills the law. No, he's not. That's not what it says. We're looking at it wrong. We are. Seriously. Jesus fulfills the law by ending it. Yes, he fulfilled the law. Yes, he had to have a water baptism because the Jews, they had to be shown proof after proof. Jesus kept telling them, kept showing them. He said, you've been following the wrong thing. No one knew the Father but me, until me. Okay? And this is really confusing because Jesus ends the law. He says, yeah, not one jot or tittle will be removed from the law ever. Because he had to end it himself. Okay? People think I'm a loser or weird because I'm confused, and I admit it. But if you're not confused, and if you don't want confusing answers, then maybe you shouldn't be looking into philosophy at all in the first place. Maybe you shouldn't be questioning reality at all if the answers are too confusing. Because my thing is, I don't have an answer for everything, y'all, but I do have a question. I have a question for everything. I want to know what is important about it and why should it be a concern to us, right? Let's see. If you transition into a male, then do you give your wife your last name? Just brings up interesting questions. Tupac hated Bill Clinton and the Democrats. It wasn't about Democrat Republican back then, but now it's just been so polarized these days, and that's supposed to happen. It's part of the end times. People often choose hell because they believe it's more entertaining than heaven. Little do they know. Well, because Nietzsche says, in heaven all the interesting people are missing. He has a point in the sense that the church suppresses thought, doesn't allow you to think, doesn't allow you to be yourself or express yourself or have any new ideas, and that's true. But in the same breath, Nietzsche says the church is precisely what Jesus preached against and what he taught his disciples to fight. So there's a lot of irony when we read Nietzsche, and a lot of atheists just say, okay, yeah, Nietzsche, pure atheist. No, if he's a pure atheist, nihilist, why is Thus Spake Zarathustra all about life affirmation? Okay? Why did he say he felt like a mere medium of overpowering forces when he wrote Zarathustra? During like a quadruple alignment in Taurus at the time with some huge planets. Well, they're all huge, but huge archetypes, okay? Like, it's all connected, And of course, Hollywood blames society for oppression these days, yet Hollywood movies are what solidified those stereotypes. In the 90s, people had a sense of humor. Even in the 2000s, the O's. It wasn't until Obama and dumbasses like Bush and Obama, that's when we started to separate, say, oh, it's offensive. Well, I feel so sorry for comedians because they are not allowed to exercise their First Amendment rights. Alien Romulus coming out. That should be cool. Hopefully it's good. And an Alien VR game. That sounds terrifying because Alien Isolation is really scary. And an Alien series taking place 30 years before the original Alien movies come out. So yeah, it's all about that. This is one of my favorite genres, and yeah. Check this out, y'all. This guy, AI audiobooks, he literally has people read a book in their own voice, like he has Edward Norton read the entire novel of Fight Club using AI technology, and it's just like you're watching the movie, but you're listening to the audiobook with Edward Norton. And then you have Bruce Lee reading his book Tao of Jeet Kune Do. So AI has its creative possibilities, but are you going to pay Edward Norton for that? Are you going to pay whoever to make a song in the style of whoever? That's the issue, is profits and creativity and what is art. All right, let's see. I'm going to say it again. That way so new people can understand the real problem here. When Jesus refuted the Old Testament 6 times in Matthew 5, Why does he say, "You have heard that it has been said of old time," when quoting Yahweh's laws? Yahweh said eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. It wasn't just some old prophet. You've heard it been said of old time. Why didn't Jesus just plainly say, "You have heard my Father say, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth"? Why didn't he just say that? Because Yahweh is not Jesus' Father. 2 plus 2 is 4, y'all. And we need to really start moving forward here so we can have these points to bring up whenever atheists or the church tries to justify the killing of kids in the Old Testament. Numbers 31, Deuteronomy 28. Don't justify evil, because then you're not judging things by their fruit. Okay? That's my February 10th reading. It says, "I'm brutally frank, but I'm fundamentally kind and sincere. You have what is known as a complex nature," right? It's like, oh, he's so nice and sweet, but he doesn't take shit. You know? Firm, yet gentle. That whole thing. Of course, this is Revelation 13 saying the beast is a lion, a leopard, and the bear. And Hosea 13 says Yahweh is a lion, a leopard, and the bear. 2 plus 2 is 4, y'all. Let's do the math. Speaking of Fight Club, there are sequels. There's a sequel to Fight Club, and it's in comic book form. I don't know if y'all know about that. No spoilers. But right here it says, Tyler's talking, says, "I haven't always taken a human form." And then Tyler is literally playing the serpent in Adam and Eve. So you know what that means, right? Tyler Durden is personifying Satan. And so it all goes back to the Yahweh is Satan thing. You don't know the bad guy is the good guy is the bad guy. And Fight Club 2 comic book confirms, yes, Tyler is the archetype of Satan, or whatever it is. You know, we are legion. You know, Jesus was one guy, but the spirit of Satan goes into anything, at any time. Goes into celebrities when they make their fucking music videos. Blah, blah, blah. Well, that's my girlfriend, Sonia. She's also the year of the rabbit. She was pagan before she didn't know Christmas was pagan until I let her know, and then her eyes are open, and that's how we connected in a lot of ways. Anyway, it's a new book I got, The Gnostics. You know, the people who believe the entire Old Testament was run by evil. So in a sense, I believe I am a Gnostic, but I believe Jesus is a real person, not some archetype that we've just been passing down. I think he is a genuine human figure, had flesh, went to the restroom, sleep, ate, you know, and of course had to shave. You know, he was a man who walked this earth. Okay, that's my belief. The physicist Richard Feynman, he says, "You might say the hand of God wrote the number 137. So I said, you know, when you're right, you're right. And Yahweh, as we see, can be pi times 7 divided by pi to the 7th power, because the yud looks like a small 7, and the vav looks like a large 7. And of course, hey looks like pi. So yeah, 137. The hand of God wrote that number, literally, mathematically. Okay, there you go. Proof's in the pudding. This is an original thing I just thought of yesterday. You know, Jesus says he's the Alpha and Omega. Well, and we all know the fish symbol. You know, the ichthys. You know, and look at it. The fish symbol on the side looks like Omega. And then if you just take off this one little tail, it looks like Alpha. Alpha, Omega. And then the whole fish symbolism, because it was the age of Pisces, and the Dogon fish worship, and the Pope's hat looks like a fish head. Like, it's all connected, okay? Jesus was the Pisces age messianic fulfillment 2,000 years ago, which is why he washed the feet of his disciples, because Pisces rules the feet, okay? Moses was the Aries ram, which is why the shofar is the ram's horn. Jesus was Pisces, okay? Not to mention the color of Pisces is purple, and Jesus wore a purple robe, as we know. I was just asking AI obvious conspiracy questions, but of course they always say no. So, in summary, Neo's passport date in The Matrix featuring 9/11/2001 issue date was most likely just a coincidence, arising from a filmmaker's choosing a random future year, in this case 2001, to set their science fiction story. They could not have actually predicted the 9/11 terrorist attacks, which occurred 3 years after the film was released. I didn't say they predicted it, Mr. AI robot. I said they knew before. I'm not saying they're predicting stuff. I say they all are in the know. They know. And of course, in 2012, when I saw the San Onofre power plants and Cloud Atlas, also directed by the Wachowskis. You know, need to zoom out, think a little. Okay, we know Genesis 1:1 gematria is 2701, which is 37 times 73. Well, what happens when you spell out in Hebrew 37 times 73? Equals 2368. Jesus Christ in Greek gematria. Okay, they're all connected, y'all. This is a great 17-minute video you should YouTube. Michael Shermer is debunked by the astrologer Jeffrey Armstrong on his own show. And you know, you don't ever see this on Skeptic Magazine. They don't want to bring it up whenever they're called out. But you got to watch the whole video. I'll try and remember to put the link in my thing. Some, dumbass said, believing the Bible is what makes you a Christian. Understanding the Bible is what makes you an atheist. Oh yeah, mic drop. And, shut up. Most atheists, that's what I said. Most atheists don't take the time to learn Hebrew or Greek and read it like a 10-year-old and read it literally. Yahweh was Satan, and Jesus literally called it out in John 8:44. So I guess that explains all the evil in the Old Testament, which is the primary argument against the Bible in my experience. And the Gnostics knew this 2,000 years ago, but in the age of information, atheists can't even Google it. Okay, they want to seem so smart, but they're just listening to people who read one passage and say, oh, that's evil, so it's all wrong. Just because it's evil doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that Satan is deceiving you. And what did Jesus say in John 8:44? To the Jews, he said, you are of your father, the devil, and you never knew the Father until me. He literally said Yahweh is Satan. Okay? Plain and simple. Speak plain. There's something about plainness of speech in the Bible. Use great plainness of speech. Don't beat around the bush like these preachers wanted to use all this magical stuff. Like, no. What does it say? And what does the rest of it say to put it into context? I like this little formula. It's about 137. And yeah, more AI art stuff. So, sorry that was a lot of information. Sorry I was talking fast. But hey, time's running out, y'all. Did y'all hear? Y'all know about the Euphrates River prophecy? Like, the Bible says it'll be all dried up during the end times. And what happened? Last year, the Euphrates River was dried up. Okay? Y'all know about the eclipses and it aligning and then looking like the letter Aleph? A lot of different stuff like that. And like the exact... I'm not even going to go into it. I'll go into it later, but I just learned about it from some other videos and some other folks, some other truthers posting their stuff. But anyway, y'all, only good news is, I guess, it's the best year for films in a long time. So I love Mad Max. I love the Joker. I love Beetlejuice. I love Dune. And hopefully Alien is good. Okay. I hope Lady Gaga doesn't screw up Joker, because she just totally ruins my immersion with her usual attention-seeking behavior. So anyway, I hope it's good despite her presence in it. They could have picked so many other people. Why they pick a pop star? It just ruins the immersion. But anyway, huge Mad Max fan. And I did like Dune Part 2. But if Dune Part 1 was 5 stars, Dune Part 2 is 4 stars. Let's all admit it, okay? It's great. But I can't wait for Dune Messiah. And then the Dune HBO series. They're milking it, okay? Anyway, I think that's it for now. There's a lot to cover, y'all. And sorry I haven't been posting but like maybe twice a month, because I'm not an attention seeker. I just wanted to tell you the truth when I find it. And sometimes I'm not in the mood to show my face. Like, I'm shy. I'm a shy guy. And the reason YouTube is so easy for me is because I'm not interacting with anyone. It's just me giving you truth. Bam. Video ends. On with your day. Question your life. Whole life's a lie. And if you can accept that your whole life's a lie, then you can move forward to make it truthful and real and on the right track, Who knows, right? Well, hope you all have a good rest of your day. Consider the stuff, and I'll try and post those links in the description. Later, Gator.